Welcome to 2021, Jill.
What a dream. I have like my vision board sitting right here next to me too.
I'm so excited. Okay, I don't
I'm
want to
very
be like,
amped.
I'm so excited. I know everyone's like, nothing's different, nothing's changed, but it is like a mental refresh. It is like a
Oh
goalpost.
yeah.
It's a day where we can go like, okay, time to like, no, yeah, nothing's changed. We're still in the middle of a pandemic
Right.
and it's surging and it will continue to surge for the next couple of weeks. Hopefully things start to go down after that. Anyway, not to get into that, but like theater will probably come back this year. And that makes me so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm literally losing, like literally on my vision board. They
Oh, wait,
can't see
hold on.
it.
First of all, welcome to a new episode
Oh
of
yeah.
Thoughts Shared Souls Bared. I'm Katie,
I'm Jill.
and we're going to talk all about 2021 and our expectations and our excitements. So, Jill, you were saying vision
Okay.
board.
So I made a vision board. I decided this year I wanted to do a vision board because I'm graduating college this semester and like in like 4.5 months. I'm terrified. Um
Exciting.
And so I was like, I'm gonna be like a real adult. So I need to have like I really wanted to do a vision board this year. And Amanda Klutz posted in May or June, I think it was May, a picture of her and Nick Cordero's vision boards that they made at the beginning of 2020. And so I was like, that's a really cool idea. Like I had never thought to do that before because normally I just do like a list of things I want to do in the new year. But whenever she posted, I was like, I'm gonna make one this year. So I went to Michael's and they're having like crazy sales on like canvases. So I got like 8 canvases for $10, which is so cheap. Um, and so I made a little vision board. It's not
Oh,
done. It's not like completely
exciting.
done.
That's
Yeah.
so pretty. Tell us what's on it.
So I've got because I'm hoping to move to New York by the end of the year, like January, next January at the latest. So I've got like some New York stuff on here. I've got some theater related things on here. I've got like a playbill sticker. I've got like graduation stuff. My motto for this year is live your life, a la the Nick Cordero song, because that song got me through 2020 because I listened to it every day for 8 months. So that's my motto for 2021. Um, and I've got like fashion stuff on here. I've got some Blair Waldorf-esque things up here because I've always said that once I graduate college is when I start to become Blair Waldorf. That's when I start to transform into like the woman I've always wanted to be, which is Blair Waldorf.
Good, haven't
So
we all?
literally. So I have some of that stuff on there, but I'm obsessed with it. I'm really excited about it. So hopefully, and I have like a Moulin Rouge picture on there because that's my comfort show. And I'm gonna get like a company photo to put on there because I want that to be my first show that I see back on Broadway.
That's so exciting. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so I made some like bullet points of like let's talk about things because there's nothing really urgent to talk about in these
Yeah.
podcasts. We're just going to talk about our goals and our expectations for this year. So I
Yeah.
made a bullet point of let's wildly speculate about theater in 2021.
Yes.
I don't think any show will open. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing that wasn't already slated to open.
Oh, okay. So like no like new
No, like I don't think
opening.
the Music Man might, but I
Scott Rudin Scott Rudin works harder than he should.
I mean, that like I don't know. I think what I'm curious about is I wonder if there's any shows that were supposed to open that just won't.
Like company.
I think Company will stay,
I
but I
think
mean,
company will be okay. I
I
have
think
full
I think
faith.
were there any shows that were in well, like Flying Over Sunset, for example, they were about to start tech, but they didn't
I thought
because
it was they were supposed to start previews.
I don't know.
Hold on, let
I
me
think
look.
they were
Because
supposed to start tech.
Tony Yazbek posted like yesterday, the day before.
But I was really excited about Flying Over Sunset.
The night we were, the night that he said, I took this picture the day we all left the theater in March. That night we were supposed to have our first preview of Flying Over Sunset.
Oh, okay. So previous, not tech. I was so excited about that show. One, because we get a lot of shows, I shouldn't say a lot, but typically if a show is set in like a city, the city is New York. Those are the ones we typically get. So the fact that this one was set in LA, and like obviously I love Los Angeles. I'm from California. Being from California is literally just like one of my only personality traits. Like,
which I love. I think it's so funny.
I very much like am a California girl.
Yes.
And so I was very excited about that. And I was so excited about that because it was also a new musical. It was completely original, and it was starring Carmen Cusack, who I adore.
And Tony Yazbek.
And Erica Huntington and Harry, I'll never know how to pronounce his name. Is it Harry Haddon Patton or Harry Hayden Patton?
Don't ask me, because I look at it and I get stressed because I'm so bad with like names, like with like last names. I never know how anything's pronounced.
I saw him in My Fair Lady opposite Lord Benanti, and he spits a lot. Very much not COVID friendly.
He'll have to wear like a face shield and everything.
Oh my, imagine. Oh my god, I'm just like imagining people wearing like face shields to stop this. What if that happens? What if they have to wear like face shields? Because when you're singing and you project a lot, like at least for the first couple months.
Could you imagine shows like Wicked and Moulin Rouge and Lion King and like the shows with like crazy things that like would not work with the face shield? Like, can you imagine them with a face shield?
I wouldn't think it, like at this point.
Would Alphabet be green? Like, would she have like a green tinted?
Like it just very much just like an
like it's clear, sheer, like it's clear,
a translucent green.
Yes.
like those gambling little visors.
Yes.
Those like accountant's visors.
Yes, that's what Elphaba's gonna wear when Broadway returns.
Oh my gosh. I would not be surprised if that's what happened.
I think that would be hilarious. I think it would be like, so funny.
Partially to help the audience.
Yeah.
Or to like protect the audience. Because I've definitely seen shows where people are like, I can tell you who's a spitter. Harry Hayden Patton, Billy Porter. I saw Billy Porter in Shuffle Along, and he had this song where it's called like the Lowdown Blues, I think. And he was like, the way he was lit too, it was like he was spitting. Who else? Josh Groban in Comet during Dust and Ashes.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Full spit.
I bet Danny Burstein, because I don't know if he's a spitter, but I bet he would like have a lot of trouble with containing himself as like Harold Zidler, because I mean, like, he gets in people's faces. Like, he's like in the audience for a good portion of like his stage time. He's like sitting in people's faces.
I wonder if that's what's going to happen. Well, so something I'm very excited about, and I love that we have a podcast, is like we're all making like random assumptions about when theater is going to return. In a year from now, we can look back. Hopefully theater will be open by then, and we can be like, did this happen? Did it not? We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that they could do is do a plexiglass.
Just do like plexiglass, like so a literal fourth wall.
A literal fourth wall, yeah.
Interesting.
But then you would have shows in like really tiny theater, like the smaller theaters. Like, I wonder how that would.
And also just like lights. A lot of lights are like behind, so it would reflect off of that. So I don't think that would work. I think face shields are more likely.
Probably, yeah. But then, like, what about like kissing? Like kissing.
You just smash face shields together.
My favorite thing on the planet is I was visiting my friend, and her and her boyfriend, like, we were walking around at like this little, like, it's got like some stores and like restaurants, whatever. We were walking around and going to like shops and stuff. And her boyfriend, like I was with her boyfriend and my friend was coming to meet us, and she walks up and she like kisses him, and I was like, because everyone was wearing masks.
In the middle
we
of a pandemic?
We were all wearing masks, and they kissed with their masks on, and I was like, is that what being a couple is in 2020? Like I was like, is this what it's like to be a couple in 2020?
Is this coupledom in a pandemic?
Yeah, like I was like, that's so funny. And she was like, I'm pretty sure we're the only people in Florida who do that. And I was like, everyone else in Florida is just like making out with strangers and like
just not giving two shits.
Oh god, it's so bad.
Oh my gosh. But like,
anyways,
I don't know. I'm very when do you think we're gonna get the Tonys?
Oh my god. Katie, the wait. Because here's what I have to say about this, because the Tony and Nom day was the best day of my year. Like that was like the best day of my entire year. I had the greatest day ever. And to make it all even better though, like it was so funny because like that day I had to go to Scene Shop, which I didn't want to do because I was so like running on like adrenaline from how excited I was about like everything happening. And then I got to Scene Shop. They had me do one thing that took me 10 minutes and then I got to leave. So I was just like purely just like thriving that day. Like it was like the best day ever. And so Tony Nom Day was the greatest day of my life. But the fact that we've never had a date, we never heard anything after it, they were just like, coming soon. The Tonys. Where are they at though? Like, where's anything? And I thought that maybe it would be tied in with the NBC like one night only Best of Broadway thing. I thought we would have some sort of confirmation by then, if not them just throwing the Tonys mixed in.
That was just one giant fundraiser for BCEFA. Or no, the Actors Fund.
It was the Actors Fund, yeah. Which, great. Loved it. It was a lot of fun to watch. I had a lot of fun. I loved like seeing everybody that was on it. I thought that was like the coolest thing on the planet. But I was expecting like some sort of announcement at the end that was just like, this is when the Tonys are gonna be, but we have nothing.
But that was on NBC, and the Tonys are always on CBS.
Still, they couldn't have told us like, oh, speaking of Broadway.
No, they wouldn't have. NBC would not advertise a CBS show.
That's true. That's very true.
The only time anybody advertises another show is if, like, on late night talk shows, if, like, James Corden goes on Jimmy Kimmel, and that's CBS to ABC. Like, that's it.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, I don't think they would advertise a full TV show on another network.
Like, and maybe it's for selfish reasons. I don't know. I just would like something. I just want some sort of information, whether it be a full ceremony, whether it be just like oh, hey, by the way, Adrienne Warren won the Tony. Oh, hey, like just something. I just want something. Anything. Like, I don't care anymore. Part of me is like, maybe they'll like tie it in and have like a whole thing when Broadway reopens this year or like something like that. But at the same time, I'm like, but at that rate, why didn't they just hold off on doing nominations?
That's what I'm saying. They should have just done one giant 19, 20, 21.
That's true.
22. I
agree. My favorite thing though is like, I don't know if you saw it. The Ensemblist was posting like, the Zaz generator that happened.
Oh, yeah.
They were posting all that stuff. And I got angry at this as well. A lot of people did. But then I read like their blog post, like furthering their explanation of it when they said that like the 2020 Tony Award nominations were a joke or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
I mean, it kind of was. Like, aside from plays, aside for musicals, it was. There were 4 eligible shows. Only 3 of them got any nominations, and of that, there was only 1 leading man. Like, I truly don't think there was enough to be judged.
But my thing is like, what bothered me about that is it was like all I could think about was the people who finally were able to get nominated, and like Robin Herder, like the way that had to have stung them, like that can't, like that's not something you want to hear the year that you finally get nominated.
Like, you know it's like a default, like
yeah, like
yeah, so it's not like a consolation. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that because like, that really, and I agreed with everything else the Ensemblist was posting. Don't get me wrong.
But the thing is, it doesn't.
I understood what they meant after their blog posts and everything, because they were saying like, oh, I wish that we were able to have the performances and I understand that made more sense to me. But it was when I first read it, I got angry for the people who were nominated.
I think this is a very interesting like topic, and I truly don't mean any like not ill will, but like I don't mean anything cruel by this, but everyone who wins this year, there will be an asterisk. Like, everybody who wins, there will, like, regardless of whether or not they would have won in a full season, that's just not what we had this year, or that's just not what was available.
Like,
things are adapted for. It's like with I think the 2020 baseball season. I love obviously I'm a huge fan of the Dodgers. An asterisk. Like, it was technically a full season, but it was a shortened season.
And whereas some of the teams had to like drop out early, some of it like shit like that. So it was like,
whereas like with basketball technically got their full season. They just like delayed it a really long time. And so, whereas baseball, the Dodgers, I do think, like, yeah, yes, they did win. They did win, but
yeah.
They won they won a non-typical year. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with this Tony Awards. They won and this isn't anything against any of the works, because the work they did and will do when theater returns is the Tonys. How do I say this? It's just one group of people's opinions. Because if you think about it, think back 2004. What won Best Musical? Avenue Q, not Wicked. Wicked still running today. Wicked, likely absolutely a much larger fan base. Your award means nothing about your award, or I should say lack thereof award or nomination doesn't mean anything aside from will it sell tickets? Because that's what awards are. Yes, you are commending someone on their work, and yes, it is acknowledging someone for doing great work, but this is something that I have with like any award show, but especially the Tonys. How are you going to put a show like Come From Away? Well, I always go back to 2017. How are you going to put a show like Come From Away or and Great Comet up, and they are wildly different than Dear Evan Hansen. That you're asking a small group of people to make that decision, and it may or may not align with your personal opinion. And again, it all comes down to opinion. It's not what is actually the best, it's what these people thought. Well, which is why I think shows like the Audience Choice Awards make more sense, because those are the people voting.
Right. And like, I think it's I always think award shows are funny. I used to love like film award shows. I used to thrive over like the Oscars and Golden Globes. But like, I've always been kind of like iffy on the winners, because it's like, it's all art, and art is 1000% about the audience's perception of what's happening. It's not always like, oh, this is the best because it's fact. It's like, this is the best because it just is. Like, it's just like,
it's all subjective.
I personally, this award season, like if we were to have had like a normal Tony Award season, I mean, I still would have been, Moulin Rouge is my number one show this season. I would have been rooting for it no matter what. However, I do think that like maybe Tina deserves an award over Moulin Rouge, or like something like there's always going to be exceptions to the best show, because just because it wins like best musical doesn't mean it's best book, doesn't mean it's best actor, like whatever. So like, I don't know, award shows are always just like so strange because everyone takes their word as God, and it's like not.
And that's something deep. And that's something that I think is so interesting, like you say that, because what determines the best musical? It is the combination of the book, of the score, of the choreography, of this, of that. So like, yeah, in a year, I think 2017 is always going to be the best example of this. In a year like 2017, best musical went to Dear Evan Hansen. Best choreography went to Bandstand.
As it should have.
Best direction went to Come From Away. Best set design went to Comet. Like, that was a very like spread out year. So if all of those other elements, so then what made up the element to make Dear Evan Hansen best new musical? Score and book? Like, is that it? Is that all you're judging it on? So then should there even be a best musical option if what you're judging it on is the combination of all of these other awards? Or is it some like weird politics thing where it's like, well, we'll give it to this because we know that this show will probably win, but we want to make sure that this show has some sort of like credit or recognition, even though
or they're
this one won.
Or like Dear Evan Hansen, not to say that Dear Evan Hansen isn't great. It's not my thing, but like
it's not my thing either.
Like, right, not to say that's not great, because it's good. I like it, but it's not my thing at all. So like, not to say it's not good or anything, but like, was it decided to be the best musical because it was so impactful on a younger generation, full like riddled with mental illness? Like, was it like a nod to the fact that it was so impactful for people with anxiety and depression and all that good stuff that we all deal with?
All those chemical imbalances.
Super fun. And saying that, is it like, okay, so is that why shows like Bandstand didn't get nominated as much, because less people were able to fully identify with it and it was less impactful for a larger amount of people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, did they decide it because of that?
And then exactly. I mean, and I don't know what, and I'm not a Tony nominator and I'm not a Tony voter as much as I one day hope to be.
I think we should just riot and put ourselves in the American theater wing.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing is, and then that has nothing to do, like I was saying earlier about Wicked, it has nothing to do about fan reaction, because if fan reaction was anything, then Beetlejuice would have won everything last year. Because
that's
people
absolutely true.
Loved Beetlejuice.
What else was nominated last year? It was so long ago. I literally like am blanking on everything. I know it's Beetlejuice.
Well, we're in 2021 now, so it's 2 years ago.
I know Beetlejuice, Tootsie, Hadestown,
and Oklahoma was that year. What else did I see? Hadestown. I'm trying to like go over like what I saw on my trip.
Yeah, because you saw like everything, didn't you?
I saw a lot. King Kong. King Kong got a special Tony.
I thought King Kong was... Oh, it did! I remember that because Danny Burstein was like, during the Tony's Danny Burstein was like on King Kong.
Writing King Kong?
Oh, God. I loved that they had Aaron, Karen, and Danny doing like the special, like the... What was it? The what awards? Like the
like special awards.
The like tech awards, special awards. Yeah. I loved that they had, I thought that was the cutest thing on the planet. I thought that was so great.
Original musicals for the 2019 season. Ain't Too Proud Beetlejuice, Be More Chill, Cher, Getting the Band Back Together, R.I.P. Hadestown, Head Over Heels, R.I.P. King Kong, R.I.P. Pretty Woman, The Prom, and Tootsie. The Prom. But yeah, so I don't know what the critics say and what the audience says are two very different things, but we still live in a time where people will go to the casual theater goer, I want to say, because like you and I wouldn't care about reviews. We'd care about like, in fact, the people in the cast.
We were like thanking God that Ben Brantley was like leaving.
we like you and I are different. We'd see a show regardless of whether or not it had bad reviews. In fact, I might see a show because it had bad reviews, because I love a train wreck.
Yes. I mean, like,
I love a train wreck. And I love when a show has the courage to be bad.
Yes.
Especially if it's on Broadway. Like, people put so much money into that for it to be bad. Oh my God. I think about that sometimes.
I think a lot about, because like you said, like the casual theater girl, I think about that a lot because I have like some family members that like are casual theater goers. Like they've been to New York once in the last like 10 years and they saw a whole bunch of shows and they were like, oh my God, but they saw all the like critically acclaimed shows. And so
the casual theater goer goes to New York and goes to see Chicago.
Right. And so like I had a cousin who was like talking, this was 3 or 4 years ago. She was like, or I guess 3 years ago, she was like, oh, like I'm thinking about taking a trip to New York. This was just before she married my cousin. So she's cousin by marriage. I should preface that. I call her my cousin because I'm close with her. But this was at her bridal shower. And she was like, oh, we're thinking about taking a trip to New York, like a few months after we get married, whatever, just like to go and like see a couple shows. She was like, what shows should we see? And so like I was listing off all the shows that like I wanted to see that I thought were like what they would enjoy as well.
You got to know your audience.
Yeah. And so she was like, oh, well, like we were thinking about Dear Evan Hansen because like I'm obsessed with like Ben Platt. And I was like I was just like sitting there and I was like,
and at that point you go, Ben Platt's not even in the
cast like
anymore.
I was like, Ben's not even in it anymore, but sure. And she was like, well, I like love listening to the cast album. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I mean, yeah, go see Dear Evan Hansen. That's fine. But like I was sitting there like listing off all these other shows and she had no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, I'm trying to enlighten you. Like I'm trying to like
that's the thing is like one time I had somebody ask me, like a manager that I worked for, asked me like, oh, you like theater, like what's your favorite show? And I wasn't going to just be like, oh, you know what, I fucking love Pippin.
Right.
You have to say something that like, if you have to know your, like, yes, you can say I love Pippin and we're going to be like, what the hell is Pippin?
Right.
Or you can just say, oh, you know, there's a lot, I can't pick one, you know, I love some of the classics. I love Wicked. I love that. Like that's Wicked is always like a good one for me just to go to. Then Hamilton came out and I was like, I love Hamilton. And that one wasn't like a lot.
And then like a lot of people knew it. So it's easy for you to be like, oh, Hamilton, I love Hamilton. And they're like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Whereas like I have the issue where if I'm on like Hinge or something, and a guy like I literally have a prompt on my Hinge. I've shown it to you, Katie. You know what I'm talking about. I have a prompt that says, hold on, let me pull up my profile. My profile is wild.
But you got to know your audience when you're talking about theater.
Oh yeah. Or I used to have a prompt. I deleted it. Like I changed it. I used to have a prompt that was like, I'll like consider going on a date with you if, and I filled in like, you can name one musical that isn't like super like stereotypical or like something along those lines. And someone responded with Dear Evan Hansen. I think I messaged you about it. I think I texted you about it, but it made me laugh so hard because like I matched with him just to see, like, hear him out, like just to be like, why did you say Dear Evan Hansen? Like perchance, like what was the reasoning? And so he was like, oh, it's just like the only musical I know. And I was like, cool. Have you heard like next to normal. Like I was like trying to be like, oh, if you liked Evan Hansen, here's like next to normal. And he just
which is a good like, which is a very good like not segue, but like very good lead in. Like, hey, you should probably if you like that, try
instead
this.
of like judging him, I was trying to be like, oh, okay, like maybe try out this if that's like the only show that you know, or like
Next
the
to
only
Normal
show that you
is
like.
so good.
It is. But
sometimes
my
I'm just like,
favorite
I just
thing,
need to get all of my feels out and listen to Next to Normal. Like
mood. My favorite thing to do though with guys is like if they ask me what my favorite musical is and the conversation isn't going well, I automatically tell them like my genuine list of like my favorite musicals. So I'm like, oh, Company, Assassins, West Side Story, Bandstand, Catch Me If You Can. And they're always like, I know
never
none
heard
of those. Like they're like, I don't know any of those. And then like occasionally I'll get someone who's like, oh, I know West Side Story. And I'm like, yes, everyone
I'm
does.
sure you do.
Like, yes, of course. And my favorite thing is like there's this one guy, I said Company, and he was like, oh yeah, I've heard of that one. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, have you like listened to it or like whatever? And he was like, oh yeah, I listened to it once. And he was like, I just thought it was really stupid. And I was like, oh,
what?
Why? Like I was like, never heard that.
I'm gonna need explanation on this.
Like I'm sitting here like with my brain being like, Company is the perfect musical. Why do you not like it? Like, I genuinely cannot fathom someone not loving Company. So I was like, oh, why do you say that? Like that's weird. And he literally goes, I just thought it was really stupid because why would you write a musical being so against relationships and marriage? And so I responded with, oh, so you just didn't get it.
That's when you got to be like, oh, so like it's not actually about that. It's actually about the complete opposite. If you listen to the song "Being Alive" or "Marry Me a Little," like you get it that it's about
right.
him
like I was like
deciding he wants that.
Right. Like I was like, oh, so you just didn't get it. And he's like, no, I got it. And I was like, I think you need to go back and listen to it again. And he literally unmatched with me immediately after. And I was like, that's fine. I was gonna unmatch him anyways. I was like, goodbye. No, thank you. And I like went into the I went into like the kitchen and this was like not even that long ago. This is like maybe 2 weeks ago. And like this is probably like a week ago. And I like ran into the kitchen and I told my dad, I was like, you will not believe what just happened. And so like I told him and he was like, okay, where does he live? Like, do we need to go and like visit him? And like my dad was like fully ready to murder this man for trash talking a Sondheim musical. And that's how you know he's my dad.
Whereas my dad is like, Sondheim has no melody. And then I literally just start singing from Merrily Roll Along. It's not a tune you can hum. It's not a tune you go bum 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 de dum. You need a tune to go bum 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 de dum. Give me a melody. Yes. And I will go and like do that entire part. And I'm like, you're just all of the Sondheim critics.
Yes. My favorite Sondheim insult though is someone once told me, like in a theater class, someone once told me that Stephen Sondheim, oh God, what I can't remember like the exact wording, but it was essentially that Stephen Sondheim is like constantly on a soapbox. And I was like, he is. And you know why?
As he
because
should
he knows
be.
He's always right. Like he is valid. He deserves to be on that soapbox because he knows more than we will ever know about anything. Like how dare you? I was like, this man who didn't get into a relationship until he was like 60, 65, I'm pretty sure.
That's gonna be me.
Like he was never in a relationship till he was 60, 65 or something like that. And it was like his first ever relationship. And he was like, and it happened to be with a man. And I was like laughing at it because I was just like, I love how he said, and it happened to be with a man. And like, he literally wrote Company pre this happening. And I'm like, and we all were just like, yes, this man knows exactly what he's talking about when it comes to relationships. And he literally does, having never been in a serious relationship before at all. When he wrote,
I was definitely in my feels listening to "Marry Me a Little" a couple days ago. Like I'm pretty sure I sent you just snaps of me singing it, and I was just
you did, and I was like crying just hearing it.
Will make a few demands I'm able to fulfill.
I love like
Well,
My cousin
the
the other
line,
night,
the line, want me more than others, but not exclusively. That's the way it ought to be. I'm like, yes!
like Steven Sondheim did that. Like he just like writes these things and we're just like,
That line gets me going. I'm just like,
it's so good. Like it's so good. And my favorite thing, so my cousin the other night, we were talking about like musicals because downtown where I'm from in Kentucky, the regional theater company has started doing this cute little thing called mini golf on Broadway, because the theater is like on Broadway, like it's on the street called Broadway.
Yeah.
I don't know why I explained
I'm
that.
like, I get it.
I don't know why I over explained that.
We got one of them here in LA too.
Right. So and they do like backstage mini golfing, and I want to do it, but I'm not going to get a chance to before I have to go back to Virginia. But he went and did it with his wife and like a couple other people that they know. And it's all like, he was like, it was super safe. Like he was like, there was literally like markers for standing 6 feet apart from like everyone. Like he was like, I felt more comfortable in there than I've felt anywhere. Like he was like, it was so safe. So, and it's literally just your group in there. Like it's like, they only do 2 a day and it's like 3 days out of the week that they do it. So it's like super COVID friendly and super safe. And they do like little trivia parts to it. So like if you almost get a hole in one, you get to answer a trivia question and it'll count as a hole in one. And like, it's like the coolest thing on the planet. And if you get a hole
we love manipulating
one,
rules.
Yes. And then if you get a hole in one, you get your name on like the marquee outside the theater, which is like super, super cute. So I was like asking, I was like, oh, like what kind of trivia questions were there? And he was saying like, there was a lot of like really basic ones. Like he was like, the Phantom question was like, who sings like Angel of Music or whatever? And I was like, that was the question. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh God, okay. Like I was like, all right. So we were talking about musicals, and he was like what? He was like, what's your favorite musical? And I knew he would like look into it if I told him. So I was like, oh, it's Company. I was like, that's like my all-time favorite musical. So he looked it up and he was like, okay, I'll play a song from it. And I was like, no, that's okay. You don't need to do that right now. And he was like, no, I'm gonna do it. He's like, if you like it, like you'll like we can listen to it. I was like, no, we don't need to listen to it like right now. And he like turns it on and he hits shuffle. And I was like, first of all, what kind of a psychopath hits shuffle the first time they're listening to a musical? It's like, what are you doing? Like, I was like, what is this? So he hit shuffle and Being Alive came on and I like grabbed his phone and I was like, no, let's just not.
You're like, I am going to burst into tears.
Right. Like, I was like, you don't understand. I cry just thinking about this song. Like, I was like, let's not do this. So like literally, what was it? Like 2 weeks ago, whenever we were filming, I literally started weeping thinking about Katrina Lynch singing Being Alive.
Jill, I swear to God, you and I have to see that show together.
We have to. But then my favorite thing is he was like, okay, what's a more upbeat musical that like you'll want to listen to right now, like while we're hanging out? And I was like, oh, let's listen to Moulin Rouge, because like I knew he would enjoy it because his sister is my cousin that paid for me to go and see it in Boston. She's like, because she was obsessed with the movie. And we had talked about the movie earlier, and like a really funny story about her in college, which was like after the movie came out.
I don't know if I said it.
This story's so good.
I don't know if I said it on this podcast, but when I saw the show in Boston, I had never seen the movie before. And I leaned over to my friend like a couple songs in and I go, oh, this is a jukebox musical? I had
jukebox musical?
no idea, not a clue.
That's so good.
Not
oh my god,
clue that it was a jukebox show. And she goes,
that's hilarious. I love that. But like my favorite thing is he was like, okay, let's listen to Moulin Rouge. So he turns on the movie playlist, the movie soundtrack, which made me laugh first of all, because I was like, I'm talking about the musical, but let's listen to the movie soundtrack. I'm fine with that too, like whatever. So he turns it on and like the first song that he plays is Roxanne, and I was like, no, you gotta listen to the Broadway Roxanne. I was like, we gotta listen to like the music.
You're like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to like put a pin in this.
We need to listen to Aaron Tveit. I love Jose de Feliciano, don't get me wrong, but I was like, I need Aaron Tveit right now. So I grabbed his phone and like I turned it on and he goes, oh, so he's like Broadway. Which made me laugh so hard.
You mean that clear tenor? Yeah.
Yes, I was like, yes, he is. I was like, and I love it. And I was like, and he was like, oh, so you like that type of like Broadway actor? I was like, what does that mean? I was like, what? And he was like, who's your favorite Broadway actor? And I was like, Gavin Creel. And he was like, so Broadway.
Baby, I fucking love Gavin Creel. Oh my
Gavin
God.
Creel's the reason, he's low-key the reason that I love theater so much.
Him as
Because
Bill
of Eloise at Christmas time.
When I saw Hello Dolly on Broadway, oh my God, it's been 3 years.
That was a long time ago.
Because I saw it January 2018. 3 years ago. I cannot believe it's been 3 years. In the back of my head, I knew he had won the Tony for the role, but his character of Cornelius truly just like pops out of a box at the beginning. Like he makes his entrance popping out of a box.
Yeah.
And then he got this like massive cheer, and I was like, why are people like, I forgot in my head, I forgot people knew who he was. Like I'd forgotten that he had won the Tony for this role that I was currently seeing.
I literally forget that Gavin Creel is like mainstream because I'm like, no, he's Bill and Eloise. Like, because I've known him since I was like 3 because of Eloise. Like I've known of, or 4, sorry, since Eloise. So like my brain, every time someone's like, oh my God, Gavin Creel, I'm like, oh, you know who Gavin Creel is? And they're like, yeah. He's like a big like Broadway vet. Like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I just look like an idiot because I think that like I'm a hipster or something for knowing who Gavin Creel is.
He popped out, so he like pops out and everyone's like, whoa, and I'm like, why is everyone cheering him so much? And I'm like, oh shit, he won a Tony for the role that I'm currently watching him play.
Literally.
Because he like obviously he didn't get as big of a standing ovation or like as big of an ovation as Bernadette did, because that's who was my dolly when I saw it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, because I had seen him in She Loves Me, and he didn't get like that big of a reaction.
He's so good and She Loves Me.
He was.
I rewatched that the other day and I was like, oh.
And I was just like, oh. It took me a minute to process. I was like, oh shit, people love Gavin Creel like I do. In fact, I had a supervisor at one of my internships hand me like a CD. He goes, this is for you, because we had like discussed some things. And he was also like a fan of Broadway, and he handed me a CD, and the CD consisted of Gavin Creel's EP and then just like the title of show album. Like he had burned the CD for me, and I was like, this is so sweet.
That's the cutest. I love that. Oh,
yeah.
Another Broadway actor that's tied with my love for Gavin Creel is Raul Esparza.
Yeah.
The way that I would risk it all for that man.
Oh my gosh.
My friends are so sick of Raul Esparza because I will not shut up about him at any given moment of my life. Like, they're tired of Raul Esparza. They're tired of Aaron Tveit. They're tired. Like, there are so many people that my friends are just like, I never want to hear this name ever again. And it doesn't help that Raul Esparza is about to be back in SVU. Like, it doesn't help the situation. Because I saw the preview for like his next, like for his first episode back, and I was in the car with my friend. You don't know SVU like at all, but like I love SVU more than anything. I watch it every day.
Is that the one with Ice-T?
Yes. Yes, it is. So I was like watching the promo, and like Barba's like my favorite character in SVU ever. Like, he's the best, and he's been gone for like 3 years. So imagine me sitting in a car with my friend while running errands, and my other friend DMs me a video from Raul Esparza's Instagram, and she says, Jill, you will not believe it, you are literally going to die. And I was like, whatever could this be? So I open up the video and I start uncontrollably weeping. Like, I could not breathe properly because I was crying so freaking hard. And my friend pulled the car over and she was like, what is happening? And I was like, Barba's back. And she hasn't watched SVU in like 6 years, so she has no idea what I'm talking about. And she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like losing my freaking mind. And so I immediately texted my roommate back in Virginia, who's like equally as obsessed with SVU as I am. And I was like, Evan, it's back. Evan, he's back. Evan, it's all happening. Everything's happening again. Everything's going to be good again. Like, I was like, 2021 is our year just because of this. Like, I was like, we are going to be so alive in 2021. We are going to be thriving. And she was like, what is going on? Like, she was like, what the hell is happening right now? And all I did was DM her like the video from Raul's Instagram page. And she texted me, she said, Jill, we are here. We are thriving. And I was like, if that tells you anything about how psycho I am with like SVU. And just Raul Esparza in general. Oh God.
I'm thinking about the Sondheim 90th birthday concert and just like his tech issues the entire time, and he was just talking, and none of his audio was working.
And his face, just, whenever he realized, was like the most. That was like the epitome of 2020, and it happened in the first week of the shutdown.
It happened about a month and a half after the shutdown, because it was like April 30th.
It was April. That's my bad. Yeah, it was like, still, even then, that's the most 2020 thing to happen. It was like at the beginning of everything.
And not to mention the fact that it like kept getting delayed and getting delayed and getting delayed.
My dad was laughing. Like, we were like an hour from it when it was supposed to have started. My dad was like, this is very Broadway. Like, it was like live theater.
People on Twitter were just like, well, like anything, takes a little time. People are yelling places, stage managements, and blah, blah.
Oh God. Anyway. It was so, I remember like getting like Twitter notifications from like everyone, because that's the most active Aaron Tveit has been on Twitter since Brain Dead finished airing. And it made me laugh so hard because he kept tweeting and he was like, don't worry guys, it's still happening. And we were all just like, yeah,
like it'll happen, just like
we know it will, but it'll be when I'm supposed to be asleep. Like, I was like, it's bedtime. Go get this roll.
Meanwhile, it was like 5 p.m. for me. I'm like,
I know, it was like, I think it was like 9:30, 9:45 before it even started. Like, I was just like drunk. Because I had started the evening. I was like, oh, I need like a vodka something, because Sondheim Company, hello. So I was like, oh, I need something with vodka in it. And I like went and I made myself a beverage, and then I just kept making myself more beverages until it's
Beveragino.
Beveragino. I didn't get as drunk though, but there was a moment. I Snapchatted you this. I found the video the other day.
That was so long ago.
I Snapchatted it to so many people, but you were one of them. And it was literally me reacting to the Ladies Who Lunch. And it was my favorite thing is I was whispering because my parents were asleep like down the hallway. So like
that
I was like
Meryl and Audra and
Christine Baranski and who else?
It was just the three of them, wasn't it?
I think it was. I think
Meryl,
I'm
Audra, and Christine Baranski. She's the only one that gets a last name.
Yes, because she's perfect and I love her. But like my favorite thing is I was watching the video and I was like whispering because my parents were asleep, and I literally was like, oh my God, that's Audra McDonald. Oh my God. Like, I was like, oh my God, Audra McDonald singing Ladies Who Lunch. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then like 5 seconds later, I was like, that's Meryl fucking Streep. Like, I was like, that's Meryl Streep. Like, I was like, what is happening? And then like Christine Baranski, and I was like, like, I was like, that's Christine Baranski. Like, I was like losing my mind over it. And the video is so funny. And then there's like a video of me reacting to Jake Gyllenhaal showing up, and I was like, Jake Gyllenhaal? And then that video started, because I sent that video to my sister, and that video started her boyfriend calling me Jake Gyllenhaal. That's a new nickname. He wrote that on my Christmas gift.
Okay.
And I was like,
fun one.
I was like, what a dream for me. No disrespect to Jake Gyllenhaal, I love him, but like that's an excessive.
Oh, the Taylor Swift stands, like the Swifties, they are very much anti Jake Gyllenhaal. Whereas
I am not.
I don't care.
I adore that man so much.
I don't care. I'm like,
I adore him
Um,
as an actor. I don't really know anything about him. I just love him so much as an actor. He's one of those actors that like I follow for his career and nothing else.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything Jake Gyllenhaal has ever done. What? Like aside from
seen,
John
like-
Mulaney,
Have you
aside from
not seen
John
like
Mulaney
Zodiac?
with Stack Lunch. Nope.
You need to watch Zodiac. It's so good.
Did not seen Zodiac, whatever that movie he was in, the Nightcrawler movie. Nope. Oh, he played like the kid at the end of City Slickers. I saw that because I love Billy Crystal so much.
Did you see Natalie Walker tweeted the other day? Yesterday. She was watching When Harry Met Sally, and she was like, "Who's the woman in When Harry Met Sally? What's her name?"
Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan. I'm sorry.
Oh my god! In this book, they have a Meg Ryan like marathon, and they start with
Do
When
they
Harry Met
really?
Sally, and I was like, yes, that's why this book
so
is so
funny.
perfect.
See,
For
when I
anybody
think of
listening,
Meg
the book I'm
Ryan,
talking about is Beach Read by Emily Henry.
when I think of Meg Ryan, all I can think of is like
Anastasia.
But like she tweeted, she's like, I just can't stop thinking about how Meg Ryan is just like so disgustingly beautiful and Billy Crystal is not.
So,
Like she was
full
like, he's
disclosure-
so ugly, and it made me laugh so hard because all I thought about was you and how much you love that movie and Billy Crystal.
I love Billy Crystal. Full disclosure, When Harry Met Sally is my favorite movie. It is my comfort movie. I
Yes.
truly have been falling asleep to it for the past couple nights.
Valid.
Because I love it so much. It's truly just like a beautiful to look at movie. There are very much like some problematic tendencies in it. Like, yeah, Harry can be kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. There's like the running line of When Harry Met Sally. For anybody who doesn't know, this movie came out in 1989. So like, I don't know. I love the movie. My dad showed it to me. And he was just like, here, you should watch this. And I said, thank you. This is all mine now. This is all I care about. Like the background of my phone, like not my lock screen, but like my home screen, When Harry Met Sally.
Love that. And I remember you lost it over that photo shoot of Laura Osnes and Corey Cott. That was very When Harry Met Sally.
It's what I love. When Harry Met Sally, the premise of it is these two people, they keep like running into each other over periods of their life. They drove from Chicago to New York together, and then they met again like 5 years later. And then they decide that, they meet like 5 years later, and then they're like, we are not friends. We can't be friends. They meet like 2 years after that, or like 5 years after that. And then they're like, let's be friends. But so the premise of it is like, can men and women be friends? Personally, there's like a line, bless you.
Thank you.
There's a line that Harry says in it, and he goes, men and women can't be friends because the sex always gets in the way. And and Sally, played by Meg Ryan, she disagrees with that. She's like, none of like my male friends want to have sex with me. And he goes, you just don't think they do, but they do. It's very much because it was kind of like a co-authorship. It was like Nora Ephron wrote the screenplay, but it was also heavily influenced by Rob Reiner's life.
Yeah.
There is like, it's almost like them both kind of telling this, like it's Meg Ryan, or not, it's Nora Ephron, but it is also like bits of Rob Reiner. And, when I was younger, I was like, no, men and women can be friends. But as I've grown up, I'm like, I don't know if I have any male straight friends.
Really?
Like my
do.
male friends are gay. Like the ones that I talk to on a normal basis. Not that I have tons of friends. Most of my friends are women, but like the men in my life are gay.
I have a good amount of like male friends who are gay. But like my 3 guy friends back at school, they're all straight. And like my sister literally thought for the longest time that like I was secretly in love with one of them. And I was like, no, he's like my brother. Like it's like the weird, like, so like I'm used to having like straight guy friends. And so I don't know, like that's interesting. I've never thought about it. But like I've never like wanted, I mean, I love my guy friends. I think that they're all attractive. Shout out to Jeremiah. He's like the hottest man in my life, and I will never date him because gross. But like plus Plus he's like happily in a relationship and I would never. They're like perfect together. But but like I just like I've never really thought about it, I guess. I don't really think about those things.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know, like I don't doubt that it can happen because like I know
Right.
people who are like that. I know men who have close women friends and they're just friends. But like for me personally, I think it comes down to the person. For me personally, I don't have that. And I think it's also because I read far too many romance books that are like friends to lovers situations.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, no, it always, like the sex always gets in the way.
Right. That's fair. That's a good point.
Anyway, When Harry Met Sally, I love it. I do. There are some parts where I'm just like, ooh, that joke wouldn't fly in 2020, but it also it was from 1989.
Right. Which I think that's like a lot of stuff is like that. Like I say this a lot. I don't like The Office because it's just I don't get
No, people who think The Office is better than Parks and Recreation are just wrong.
Literally, because what I stand by this. I think The Office is funny. I've watched it a couple times. I think it's hilarious. But I think the biggest difference, and this is just like a personal preference, I think the biggest difference is like Parks and Rec doesn't try to be funny in every aspect that it is funny. Like sometimes it just is. But The Office relies on like offensive jokes and it relies on certain things
very much
trying to be funny. Like it's like written to be funny, whereas Parks and Rec is just like naturally hilarious.
I think that The Office, this is my own interpretation of it. I think The Office is funny. I don't like some aspects of it. I don't like a lot of aspects of it.
I don't like a lot of the characters.
Yeah, and I think it's intentionally that way though, because when you work in an office situation, you don't like everyone you work with. You know,
that's true.
I think it's, but I do think that The Office is real in the fact that for its time, those were the jokes that like people would make. Right. People were less sensitive. People were more insensitive back then to a person's feelings, and you know, it's not a bad thing that people have started caring more about another person's feelings. It doesn't mean you've gotten soft. It means you've gotten like
more empathic.
Respectful. Yeah. Anyway, so I do think that The Office is real in that that's the way it was. That's the way it was. Yeah. But I don't like the whole people are like, oh my God, I love Jim and Pam. They're the best. I'm like, I don't care. They're the worst Jim.
Couple.
Jim is mean. He is mean.
He's a bully.
He's rude.
Whereas and like with Pam, he's just like very like he gets really jealous really easily for no reason. He is like
that being said, I still watch The Office.
Well, yeah, he's just insanely overprotective in like the weirdest way to me. Like it just was always very uncomfortable for me personally to watch. Like I never really enjoyed that relationship.
Yeah. Whereas like on Parks and Rec, something I think that was really interestingly done is that when characters got together, they stayed together. Like it was never like a will they, won't they. Like yes, there was that with Leslie and Ben in the beginning, but once they got together, it was like we are together.
And like Chris and Anne, they got together and then they broke up, but then they got back together again because they realized like, no, why did we ever break up? That was weird. Like
well, it wasn't so much. Well, I personally don't think it was so much that. It was more of like they grew as individuals after their breakup.
That's true. Yeah.
And then they came together as like, actually, I think this would work now. Yeah. Now we're in the right time of our life. And then like April and Andy, like that was just perfect. And they
literally were together for 3 months and then got married. Like it's like the funniest, like, oh, it's so
and they got married kind of like as a joke. They're just like, that's so stupid.
Right. Like they're like, what else do we have to do? Let's get married.
The thing I love about Parks and Rec is every character truly cares for the others.
Yes.
Like everyone, I mean, obviously there's a whole like Jerry, Larry, Gary, like side whole thing, but like Leslie and Ron very much care for each other and care about each other and would do anything to protect each other. Regardless of how different they are still very much like you are. They're friends.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Parks and Rec and The Office. It's like these people are friends.
And the other one, they're coworkers. Like it's like there's a huge
and like yes, I've been lucky enough to be parts of organizations where I am friends with my coworkers, but like I also have worked other places where I'm just like, I'm not really a big fan of you.
Right. And like the other thing with Parks and Rec that I love is like one of my favorite things that Ben and Leslie do is whenever they say I love you, they say I love you and I like you. And a lot of people think that that's just like some weird like quirky thing. I'm like, that means something though, because you can love someone but not like them. Like I was like, that's like such like a like, oh god, it makes me so happy. Like I love when they say that so much.
Leslie and Ben are very much like in love, and they stay in love throughout the series, and they grow as a couple, and it's they don't get together until they realize like, no, this is, because they're also very much like concerned about their careers. They're just like, this is what I want. And if you notice like certain things that are said about their ages, like they waited to like until they were old, like they got together later in life, not like 60 like Stephen Sondheim, but like Leslie's like in her mid-30s.
Yeah.
And so is Ben, and they get together and they still like are able to have this fulfilling life. They're able to like, they're very much, they're very much a team. And that's what I love, is like they are very much a team.
Like I love, my other favorite thing is I point this out a lot when I watch Parks and Rec. And my friends think it's something just like super weird that I pick up on, but it's something that matters to me because this is something that like I've dealt with in my life. Is like when you are like friends with someone, even like not even in a romantic relationship, just like friends with someone, and they
also,
don't.
I just realized that I said personally I don't think men and women can be friends, and then I went on like, or Leslie and Ron are friends.
I didn't even think about it. But like something that I've always loved about it is like Leslie, she caters everything that she does to all of her friends' needs and wants and likes. And like whenever you are friends, even just friends with someone, not even a romantic relationship, even if you're just friends with someone and you don't understand why they love something so much, or you don't fully understand like why they're like so obsessed with this thing or something like that, and then but you still make every effort to support it, that is so important to me, because I try to do that as best I can with my friends, because my friends are everything to me. My friends are my entire world. Like I would be nowhere if I didn't have my friends. And which a lot of people think it's weird that I'm not so family oriented, but I'm like, my family has been huge. Like, and it's so hard to like be best friends with your entire family when it's as big as mine is. So like I've always just been very friend oriented. Like they've always been my biggest supporters. Like my friends are always my biggest supporters. And so like I'm so close with my friends. And so like my friends, all of my friends somehow, I don't know how this happened to me, but all of my friends love anime and I don't get it. Like I don't understand anime. I understand anime, but like I don't it's not for me at all. Like I've tried. I've watched like 10 of them. I don't understand them. And so I think that some of them are very beautiful, but I don't personally get it. Like I'm just like, this is not for me. And like my friends respect that and they get it, but like whenever they come over to like, sometimes the guys will come over and do their laundry at our place or something, and they'll be like, oh, I need to work on homework, so how about you guys turn on something? And then like they'll turn on anime and I'll try to watch it because I'm like, I want to be interested. If you guys are interested in this, like I want to try it out, because like I make you guys sit through musicals. I can't just like pick and choose what like I support and everything. And so that's like one of my favorite things, is because like in high school all of my friends were the worst, and I didn't have good friends that like were supportive of my hyperfixations the way that I do now, and I really, really appreciate that.
Something I think is so interesting, and I'm so happy that like that is something that's happened in your life and you've been able to grow something with your friends. Something I think is so weird is like, you know, sometimes when you are, I shouldn't say this is true for anybody else aside from me. When I was 13, 12, 13, 14, it was like it was very tough for me. But I also, because I started noticing that I was into like things that my friends weren't really into. And not that they didn't like it, but like they they like if for me it was whatever, it's like all I could talk about, like it's my hyperfixation.
Yeah.
So I would try to like talk about other things, and therefore I would try to make myself like things that I didn't really care about. Like
Yeah.
I have these like, I went to certain concerts that I was like, oh my God, I love them. And now I'm just like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like I did not actually really care that much.
Yeah.
And it's because I so desperately wanted to like what other people like. I so desperately wanted to like have friends. Like my freshman year of high school, it was truly a mess. It was like, it was the hardest thing. One of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with was my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Anyway, so having people that like understand you and can care even if they aren't as interested in other things, I think is very important. And it's very tough sometimes to find that, but I feel like as you get older, or I should say as I've gotten older, you know, two of my best friends, we are like, all three of us, wildly different people, that like very, very different people, but yet we still enjoy each other's company. And we're just like, you know what, you are wild, you go enjoy it, you go wild out, like you're fine, have fun, you're a little, you need to like take a break, take several steps back, like understand that not everything is like so tough. And then for me, I'm like, I need to just calm down because
Yeah.
Oh my God, my motto for like 2020, I just started saying it a lot, was just like, I live in hyperbole. Everything is like way up here or way down here. Like
Yeah.
there's no in between. I live in hyperbole.
Yes. I love that.
But yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we started talking about this.
I don't
But
know. But I agree, because like I stopped loving theater as much because like I grew up loving Grease, as you know. Like I grew up like obsessed with like Grease and Hairspray and Mamma Mia and like theater stuff. And then like I fell out of it because I was like, that's not something that I can do. Like I was like, that's not something tangible for me. So I started like fixating on film. And like, because I've always loved film anyways, because like my first introduction to theater was movies. And so then I started doing like getting more into film, and so I was like, oh, I want to make films. I didn't want to make films. Like I realized, like I was like, I went 6 years of my life thinking I wanted to make movies for the rest of my life, and like now I'm just like, why would I ever think that that was something I wanted to do? Like it was so opposite. And so, but that like completely transformed my life in high school, because I was in media arts in high school. I was making short films and stuff for class. Like I was like doing all the stuff, and all my friends were on the same track. Like they were all doing the same thing. And now a lot of the people that I was friends with in high school are still doing that in college, whereas I'm like PR and theater. I was like, that's not for me ever. And like I looked back about a year ago, and like my friend and I were talking, and we were just like, why was I ever in media arts? Why did I ever think I wanted to make films and move out to LA and like all this stuff? Like I was like, my whole life has always been New York. Like since I was a kid. Like I was like, why did I ever for a second think I wanted to live in LA? It's so weird.
Here, let me say this. California is the best state. New York is the best city.
I don't think that I would like LA. Like really thinking about it, I don't think it would, like I would like to visit.
Come visit
but like
me,
in
Jill.
my brain, I will. But like
Once
in
the
my
pandemic's
brain,
over.
yes. But also in my brain, I was like, why would I think I could live there? Like that was like my whole thing, is I was like, yeah, I would like to visit LA. But I'm like, no, I need to live in New York. Like it's always been like my end game. That's where I need to be for the rest of my life.
I don't know. I love LA. I do. I don't. It's this weird thing where it's like, I used to want to say that I'm from LA, even though I'm not.
Yeah.
Because it was the easiest. If somebody, it's this weird thing where it's like, if somebody from outside of California asks me, if I'm on vacation or somewhere, someone asks me where I'm from, I used to just say, oh, I'm from LA, because it was so much easier than like explaining where I'm actually from. But it also kind of always felt like a lie, because I'm not even from LA County. Like it's where I live, I'm on the border of like 5 different counties. I get all of the alerts for all of them. Anyway, but so it always felt like a lie. So like so something I've started doing is just say like, oh, I'm from California. They go, oh, like where? And I'm like, oh, you know, like Southern California. And if they keep pressing, I'll like explain where I'm from. But like, I don't need everybody knowing where I'm from.
Tea.
So I used to say that but at the same time, I still do have these like emotional ties to LA, partially because I spent the first 14 years of my life going to school in LA County, and then I went to public school where I live, and then I went to like college in Los Angeles. Like I went to Cal State LA. Like I do have like a lot of ties to LA. Plus it's like the nearest major city. All of our like it's this weird like line where it's like there was this, I heard somebody once say, you're from where you fly out of. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Cool. So then like I fly out of LAX, like that's it. And then I started flying out of like another airport, and I'm like, I feel like I can't say that anymore.
It always makes me laugh because like whenever you said that was like weird to me, because I was like, but I'm not from Cincinnati. Because that's like the main airport that I fly out of. And I'm like, I'm literally from Kentucky, but I fly out of Cincinnati.
But so I heard somebody say that once, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And that's another way I could like emotionally tie myself to LA. Plus it was like this whole like internal struggle that I was having where I wanted to be from where everybody wants to be. You know, it was like the one thing that I could have like superiority over. I'm like, well, I'm from LA. I'm not.
Yeah.
I just, so I'll just say like, oh, you know, I'm from Southern California. It's just where it's my default. And even then it still feels like I'm from where you want to be. But like Brandy Melville, Brandy Melville had this, I once saw a shirt that they had. I went into a Brandy Melville once years ago, and there was once a shirt that said like, California, you flew here, we grew here. And I was
I've seen that. Yes.
Love that. And it holds up that elitism.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know, this whole last couple of years, I've been like trying to like reckon with myself, like stop lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Especially like
I say, like if someone asks where I'm from and I say Kentucky and they're like, oh, where in Kentucky? I'm like, you have no idea where I'm gonna like what I'm gonna say. So I just say Lexington, because I've spent most of my time in Lexington anyways, because like I'm so close to it that like I grew up in Lexington essentially. And also I have PTSD from my hometown, so I try not to like associate myself with it. And so it's always funny because like the people that know like what Lexington is, they're always like, oh, horses. And I'm just like, the horse capital of the world. Yes, thank you. And it makes me laugh so hard every time. There was something the other day that was like, what was I watching or like talking? I was talking to someone, or I saw a video or something, or someone sent me a video and they were talking about how they were like in the raisin, oh my God, raisin country. I was watching the High School Musical, the series holiday special. That's what I was watching. Someone in it, I don't know who it was, someone in it said that they were from like the raisin capital of the world or something. And it made me laugh so hard because I was watching it with my sister, and we both looked at each other and we were like, we're from the horse capital of the world. So what does that say about us? It makes me laugh every single time. Oh God.
That's so funny.
I've never owned a horse. I've ridden a horse once in my life. Like I hate horses.
So back to Broadway. Wild speculations. Any more wild speculations you have for this year? When do you think Diana the Pro Shot's gonna be released?
I'm hoping soon. I'm excited about it. I
don't know why. In my head, I was like, oh, it's gonna be released in January.
Yeah, in my head it was December, January for some reason. I think that they had originally said something about December, but then they like lied. Like, I don't know, like I remember hearing December in like relation.
I feel like I remember January. Like
I feel like I
mid-January.
was thinking December. I feel like they said December, and then like the prom release date was December, so they were like, "That's too much theater. That's too much power. We need to not.
We can't give them everything at once.
We
have
can't
to
give
let
them everything. We have to
make them pay
pace
for another
themselves."
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so my Apple TV Plus free year, it got extended to February for some reason. Which I'm happy about because I love Apple TV Plus. I love all the content on there. But I was thinking, I was like, I really don't want to have to start paying for it after February. But then I was like, but do I still actually need it? Like, am I actually still gonna watch it? And then I was like, Schmigadoons on Apple TV Plus. I can't just like not. Like, I was like, I can't get rid of it because like, but it's connected to like my dad's credit card because his credit card is on our Apple ID. So I'm gonna be like really sneaky and be like, can you pay the $5 a month so I can watch Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Do you have any? So I think another thing I have on here was you wanted to expand on a TikTok that I made.
Yes, because it made me laugh so hard. Okay, so like you made a TikTok. What was it? You said what was like the theater? What was it?
What was the like something about like what was the piece of theater that like or what got you really into theater or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah. And it made me laugh because I was like looking at the comments and I was like seeing if like I could relate to any so I wouldn't have to make something or like reply to it or something.
I truly made that TikTok and then just like closed my app and fell asleep. And because I have that one TikTok that's just like trending right now about the wildest celebrity experiences, I can't just like people keep commenting on that one and I can't scroll. And so I should go in and just like read the comments. Yeah. But I haven't yet.
God, I have to sneeze.
Let's see.
I have to sneeze. It's not happening.
Like, look, right now I have 23 people who like stitched that video.
Oh my God.
It's just since I've closed my phone.
Well, two of them are me. But it made me laugh because I was like, look at the comments and everything. And I was like, oh, I wonder like if I'll relate to any. So I won't.
Oh my God, there's 46 comments on here.
Oh my God.
Wicked.
But I was like hoping I wouldn't have to stitch it or comment on it.
Wicked.
And then I didn't see anybody saying anything in relation to mine at all. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a conversation about movie musicals. And so it was funny because like it got a couple hundred views and stuff, but like no one like really commented on it other than my friends. But like I want to expand on it because my friends texted me and they were like, Jill, those videos were stream of consciousness and they made no sense. And I was like, okay, so I just need to like discuss it. So I made 2 video reactions because I've had 2 like theater things in my life. Like when I was a kid that got me into theater, and then like as a teen / like young adult that got me into theater. And so like as a kid, I was shown the movie Grease when I was like 4 years old. And it literally changed my entire life. Everything about my life is Grease, I think. Like, because the movie that got me into theater was Grease when I was 4 years old. And then the thing that reintroduced me to theater was Grease Live. And I think that that's like the funniest thing on the entire planet. Like, I love that parallel. But I rewatched Grease today, actually, because I was bored and had nothing else to do. So I was like, I'm gonna watch Grease. I haven't watched it in a couple years. And I was sitting there watching it and I was like texting my sister and I was like, when was the last time you watched this movie? And she's like, why? And I was like, I highly suggest watching it as an adult. She's like, why? And I was like, when I was 4 years old.
They did Stalker Channing dirty in that opening number sequence with that drawing.
They
did her dirty.
But I was like, I suggest rewatching it. She's like, why? And I was like, because I'm looking back at my childhood and why did nobody stop me when I was singing the lyrics, Make Her Cream and Pussy Wagon at like 4 years old? Why did nobody stop me? Like, I probably sang that song at school when I was like 6 or 7. And now I'm wondering if like anyone ever called my parents to be like, what is happening here? Like, what is this that is happening? Because I remember in second grade, I taught all my friends how to do the hand jive. That was like my one trick on like show and tell day, was I can do the hand jive.
Hand jive, baby. Have you heard Taylor Swift's song Paper Rings?
No, I don't really listen to Taylor Swift.
I love Taylor Swift. There's a song that goes like,
no one come for me. I just don't like her.
The song goes, I like shiny things that I'd marry you with paper rings. Anyway, when my friend Nicole and I went to go see the Jonas Brothers, we were in line. We went to see them at the Hollywood Bowl. So there's always this like massive bowl traffic. So we were trying to get off the freeway to park. Anyway, all I wanted to listen to is Lover, even though we were going to see the Jonas Brothers. Yeah. Anyway, Paper Rings comes on. And I just start hand jiving during it. I was like, I like shiny things that I marry you with paper rings. Oh, that's right.
I love that.
Anyway,
it's so funny because you were going to see the Jonas Brothers, and Joe Jonas sang with DNC like they did the Born to Hand Jive and everything during Grease.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyways, so when I was a kid, I loved Grease. And then when I was like 6, Mamma Mia came out, and my whole, like all my sisters, we all went and saw the movie together. Like it was like a family affair. We all went and saw Mamma Mia. And now it's really funny because like now whenever I babysit kids, I'm like, let's watch all these musical movies. And then I have to like text their parents to make sure it's okay that I show them Mamma Mia. And they're like 11. And I'm like, I watched this in theaters when I was like 7 years old.
I would love to show Ava anything else, but all she wants to watch is Lion King. That's it. I tried to put on Hercules the other day.
Turn on Grease Live. Like, no, kids love it.
No, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch it. It almost into a meltdown, and I was like, fine.
Turn on Grease Live because kids love Grease Live. I kid you not. They love it.
She'd be like, I don't want to watch it. And then we've been to her every whim. So, yeah, we've been to her every whim. So it's
because she's perfect. I love her.
She is. She is my favorite thing in the world.
But so like Grease was what got me into when I was a kid. / Eloise at Christmas time because Gavin Creel singing Gypsy awakened so many things for me.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I was like, okay, so it's funny. I was rewatching Eloise at Christmas time last week with my parents. It was like on Christmas Day night. We were watching Eloise at Christmas time. And I used to watch this religiously as a child, even when it wasn't Christmas. I just loved Eloise. I had all
You
the
also
books.
sent it to me. It's just on YouTube. You just sent it to me, and I didn't even ask for it. You didn't even mention it. You just sent it, no context. And I was like, thanks.
Everyone needs it in their life, Katie. It's so good. Anyways, so like I was talking to my parents while we were watching it. I was like, remember when I was like in love with Bill? And my dad was like, and I didn't have the heart to tell you that Gavin Creel is gay. And I was like, yeah. I remember those days. And he was like, you're still in those days. Like he was like, you're still in love with Gavin Creel. Like
and
it's
what
so
of
funny.
it?
Like who cares? But then I fell out of theater. Like I loved Hairspray as a kid. I loved theater for pretty much all my life. I still loved musicals. I still loved like plays and stuff like that. But I wasn't as like into it in my teen years because that's when I thought I wanted to make movies. And I was like obsessed with like really weird like cinema stuff. Like it was just like, I thought I was so deep and it was horrendous. But then 2016, January 31st, 2016 was like the best day of my life. And I stand by that. I think that like that awakened so much for me. Cause like I was excited about Grease Live anyways, cause like Carlos Pinavega was in it and I loved Big Time Rush. That's like still my favorite boy band ever. I love Big Time Rush.
Big Time Rush was just after my time.
See, Big Time Rush was like everything to me. I loved them. So like Carlos was in it, Vanessa Hudgens, like Carly Rae Jepsen, like it had a stacked cast. It was such a good cast. I don't like Julianne Hough, that's beside the point. But like the rest of the cast, I was obsessed with. Jordan Fisher, like I was so excited. And so I remember that day, my friend Anna she was like obsessed with Aaron Tveit because of like Les Mis and Next to Normal and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't know what any of this is. Like, I was like, shut up, I don't know what this is. And so I was like, I don't care about this man. Who is that? Like, I was like, who cares? And so she was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for Grease Live because like Aaron Tveit's in it. And I was like, I'm excited because Jordan Fisher and Carlos Pennebaker. Like, I was just like, so could not care less about Aaron Tveit. And
what was Jordan Fisher like in that made him like famous?
I think it's Teen Beach Movie.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what kickstarted his career.
Time.
Yeah, because that kind of like kickstarted his career. I think so.
Okay. Was he on a TV show?
He was in Liv and Maddie on Disney
Channel. Like as a
Channel.
main character?
No. He would do like little guest starring roles. I don't think he ever was a main character.
Okay, so then it must have been Teen Beach Movie.
But
which I did watch once.
I love Teen Beach Movie. Are you kidding me? But
I got roll over that song that trended on TikTok, but it's just
oh my God, I'm so sick of that one.
It was every single TikTok.
But she would talk about Aaron, and I was like, I don't care. I was like, I have such a fat crush on Danny Zuko though anyways. Like, John Travolta ruined my life as a child. Like, I am in love with Danny Zuko. I know he's a terrible person. I don't care. I'm in love with Danny Zuko. So I was like, I don't really care. Like, who cares? I'm sure he's fine. So the show starts, and I was like, who is this man? Like, I was like, why is this man? Who is this? Why is he playing Danny Zuko? And I just was uninterested in Julianne Hough as Sandy. And then this is like the weirdest thing to like confess right now. I wish I still had the text messages. Like, I really wish I still had my reaction text messages to my friend who's like no longer my friend anymore. So I can't even ask her for them. Summer Nights started and Aaron Tveit starts singing. And I text like 3 different people that are also watching it from their own homes. And I was just like texting them. And I was like, wait a second. Like, I knew who Aaron Tveit was because of Gossip Girl, but I didn't know who Aaron Tveit was. Like, I didn't genuinely know who this person was. And because he looked so different in Grease Live versus what he looked like as Trip Vanderbilt like 7 years prior. So I was like, who is this person? So I was like, wait a second. I literally like remember typing in all caps, hold on. And then we get further into the song and I'm sitting there like crying. Like, I was like, who is this human being? What is this that I'm watching? Holy crap. And so like, I'm literally texting my friend who's like as obsessed with Aaron Tveit as I am now. And she was just like so irritated with me because every other time she's tried to show me anything that he was in, she was like, you wouldn't have it. You had zero interest in this. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is the perfect man. I was like, this is the perfect human being. And so Grease Live, I genuinely think it's just like a Danny Zuko thing because as a kid, it was John Travolta that got me into it. And like as a young adult, it was Aaron Tveit as Danny Zuko.
Very, very likely.
And I think it's so funny because like looking back, I rewatched Grease Live a couple days ago with my friend because she was like, I haven't seen it in so long. And I was like, okay, we'll watch it. And I was like, you know what this show did? It did everything. And we just let it. Like, we just accepted this as like the greatest live television musical because it was. The Wiz was good. I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed The Wiz. But Grease, like objectively speaking, technically and everything is like just the best live TV.
It was also the first one that Fox did, right?
It was, yeah. Which I thought it was interesting that Fox did it better than NBC had done like 6 times before. Like, I thought that was really weird.
Didn't Tommy Kail direct it?
Mm-hmm. It was directed by Tommy Kail.
I think that's really important for it. The fact that you had a theater director directing it.
Yes. And it's also, they had a lot of theater actors in it. Like, The Wiz did too, but it was mostly ensemble was like theater actors. Whereas like with Grease Live, you had Aaron Tveit as the lead, which he wasn't a household name until Grease Live.
He's
Like
still
no
not
one,
he's still not a household
he's still
name.
not. But then you had like Vanessa Hudgens is a theater actor, despite like, you know, being in like
She had done
movies and stuff. Period.
She had done Rent at the Bowl, and then she
Yes.
did Gigi.
Mhm.
Has she done? Why do I feel like she's done Broadway since then? Or has she only done Gigi?
She did In the Heights at was it the Kennedy
Center?
In the Heights? Yeah,
Yeah.
she was in the Heights. Which I heard she was really good in.
Yeah.
But
I think people
like you had like Vanessa Hudgens.
I feel like people think
Was it?
Vanessa Hudgens isn't as good as she is.
She's
Either
great.
that or
And,
she's
like,
been cast in weird things that are not right for her.
Yes. I feel like Rent, like her in Rent was not good. So like a lot
As
of people
her
go off
her
of
as
that.
Mimi or her as Maureen?
Oh, her as
Mimi,
Mimi.
she was in her as Mimi at the bowl was weird. Like I didn't see it. I wanted
was
to.
not
I would have
great.
killed to have seen that cast.
It's all
'cause it
over
was
YouTube.
Aaron Tveit,
It's all over YouTube.
Skylar Aston.
It was a great
who was
cast. Nicole Scherzinger, like
Nicole Scherzinger. Was it Wayne Brady as Collins?
mm-mm.
Who was
I don't-
Collins?
Was it?
I feel like it was I feel like he was
Hold on.
Collins. Also, Neil Patrick Harris directed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember wanting to see it so bad, but my parents were like, "We're not going to take you to see Rent again." Like
It was Wayne Brady. Okay, I don't know why I thought it wasn't.
They were like, "We don't want to see this again, so you're not going to see it." And I was too young to like drive myself. Also, my parents did not let me
Yeah.
drive to LA until I was like 20.
Really? Oh, Tracy Thoms was Joanne. That's right.
Mm.
But like, it also had I mean, Jordan Fisher is like a theater kid through and through. So
Yeah.
like he was so good as Duty. He was amazing. Andrew Call was in it. David Del Rio was in it. Like the cast was so, and like it wasn't a whole lot of like household names, which I think added to it because it's
And
like,
I think that's
oh, you
important.
don't have to have a stunt cast to be amazing. Like,
You definitely need strong theater people as main characters. Whether or not those main characters are the leads is another story. Because I think a lot about
Yeah.
The Sound of Music, which is like their first like foray into it. I mean, after so many years, it obviously wasn't
Yeah.
the first time it had ever been done, but it had been the first time it had ever been done in years. A lot of people were like, Carrie Underwood, your acting is very stiff, but your singing is amazing.
yeah.
And I think that was like the main criticism of it is like people were like, we don't like her, but her
Yeah.
singing was great because she's Carrie Underwood. But having Laura Benanti and Christian Borle as theater actors, as Ilsa and oh my God, what's his name?
I'm not a Sound of Music person, so I don't know.
Ilsa and
I used to hate Sound of Music as a kid. Fun
I don't
fact.
know. I mean, I don't really like Sound of Music because watching children perform makes me uncomfortable. But
I didn't like Sound of Music as a kid, but I loved Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
If that's not the most on-brand statement I've ever made, I don't know what it is.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I grew up loving Julie Andrews because what kid doesn't?
fair.
So my
Absolutely.
dad was like, you have to watch The Sound of Music.
Yeah, my
and he
mom
goes-
used to force me on it, like force it on me, and I was like, ooh, who's this man
also
ripping up a Nazi
long
flag?
movie.
It
It's also a
is.
long movie.
But like I do think it's important, like Grease Live definitely showed that. Like it's like you don't have to have this horrendously A-list stacked cast to make it amazing, like to make it so good. And it was just like the audience wasn't super aggressive like they are in other live TV musicals.
It
And
also
like,
was the first one that had an audience.
right. And like since then though, like the audience is overwhelming. Like I cannot watch them now because they're always like so loud.
I had tickets to see Grace. Did I tell you this? That I had tickets
You
to see Grace
did.
Live, and then
Yeah.
it had rained that day. Like it rained that day.
It's funny
And-
because they had like an alternate opening for Rain that they had rehearsed 2 hours before like they were supposed to go on, and then they ended up just doing the original opening
Because it stopped
just
raining.
with umbrellas. Right, like they were like, let's just have umbrellas and do it like the original one. Scratch everything you just had to like learn in 5 seconds.
But theater people can do that.
Right. Like it's so funny.
That's called being in early previews.
Literally.
But I had tickets and I was supposed to go with my friend, and then for whatever reason we just didn't, and then it had turned out that it was like raining that day, and it was in like Burbank, and we didn't want to drive to Burbank. It was a whole thing.
I want
wish
to
I
know
could have
like
gone,
where you
but-
would have been. I want to know what audience, like what section of the audience you would have been in.
I guess we'll never know.
Because like, could you imagine being in the gym?
Oh, I would have died.
I would have loved to have been in the gym.
I feel like I have a friend who went that night.
That's
I
where
have
the most fun scenes were.
I know 2 people who went to Rent Live. That,
Really?
That pre-taping.
Oh yeah, I
of
knew
it.
that. Yeah, you told me about them.
Yeah, I knew 2 people who were there. Or I should say 2 groups of people who were there. But yeah. Anyway. I have another thing written down on here. Like, what, now that we're in 2021, we have a whole year ahead of us. Exciting. Still
Yes.
gonna be inside because of current situations. I want to talk about like what our goals are for this year for this podcast, because I feel like one thing that you and I discussed, like privately, I don't know if we've discussed it on the podcast, is that we want to bring on guests.
Yeah.
Whether or not these people are like theater makers or just theater fans, I think would be really interesting.
Well,
Because
and
I think we should have a collection of both.
I have a friend who wants to be on our podcast. Shout out to Abby. I know she's going to listen to this. I have a friend who wants to be on here because she is a huge fan of Krista Rodriguez. So she wants to come on and discuss like
I can discuss some things about Krista.
She really wants to come on once we start getting Halston on Netflix, which I'm 100% down for because Ewan McGregor is my favorite thing on the planet. So I was like, absolutely, I'll talk to Katie about it. So I would love for Abby to come on because she's like, I could discuss Krista for like hours. And was like, valid, because mood.
I want to get some like theater TikTokers on.
Yes.
Like I'm mutuals with a couple of them, and I would love to get them on. I mean, it would be like, it in my head, it's an awkward subject to broach, but I don't imagine it going. Like, I feel like if someone were to ask me to be on their podcast, I'd be like, oh hell yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna manifest this right now because I can probably message her and she'd probably say yes if she had the time. I don't know what her scheduling looks like, but I can ask my main bitch Amber Ardolino if she would like to, because she's done so many awesome shows. Like, she's been in Hamilton, Head Over Heels, Rock of Ages, Moulin Rouge. Like, her resume is amazing. So like, I would love to have my girl Amber come on.
That'd be so cool.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the things. But I remember I sent you a snap the other day, and then it was interrupted by Ava coming into my room and being like, "I want to jump on your bed," and I was like,
yes.
"Okay." And I was like, "Okay, shoes off, but yeah, he can jump on my bed. I don't care."
Why not?
When theater opens up again, we can start reviewing the shows that we go see, and like,
yes.
Luckily for me, I mean, who knows where I'm gonna end up? Like, things are weird right now. Things are very much like up in the air regarding my career, which is another thing I'm
same.
But LA, whether I'm like in LA or if I'm in New York or if I'm in Chicago or
Maybe
wherever I
we'll
end
both
up.
be in New York by the end of the year, and we'll just
Honestly, that'd be so much fun.
Vibing.
Also, anybody who may not know, Jill and I have never met in person. Jill and I have been
I
friends.
feel like no one knows that.
Jill and I have been friends for years, but we've never met.
How
in
long have we
person.
been friends? How long has it been? It was I
want to say it's been
winter of 2018, wasn't it?
It was like fall of 2018 because I remember I like just started at my job.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, guys, I'm working.
So it's been like 2 years. It's been a little over 2 years.
Yeah. So
we literally didn't we like bond over company
or just like Aaron Tveit in general? Like,
I think it was Aaron Tveit in general, but there was like something about company in there.
I'm sure there was.
I can't not have a conversation about company with another human being.
But like, regardless of where I am, there's always weird little shows happening, and
Yeah.
I can't, oh my God, I can't wait to see bad shows again. God, I can't wait
I
to see bad
saw a
shows.
really
Or
bad
weird
production.
shows.
I don't want to say bad production. It was a product of its time. I saw a weird production of Almost Maine recently that was put on by my university, and it was very, very strange. I'll like explain it to you outside of this because it was weird.
The only production of Almost Maine I've seen was a high school that I have no affiliation with. Just like, I had a friend I worked with, and he was like, "Do you want to come see this production?" I was like, "Okay."
I saw
He wasn't even in it. He was just like, come see my old high school's production. And I was like, okay, sure.
I saw it when I was in 8th grade, at like my high school later on. They put it on my 8th grade year, and my sister's friend was in it, so I went and saw it. And I didn't remember a single bit of it, and I still don't really know much about it, and I've seen it twice now, and I still don't really remember anything from it.
Oh my gosh.
Because I just kept thinking this last time I saw it was virtual, first of all, and one of the guys in it is like, will not stop asking me out. So I'm just like, I was trying not to think about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait until you and I can like discuss the shows that we've seen.
I can't wait to be able to see a show with you.
Oh my God, me too.
Like,
oh God. I'm so excited.
We need to see Company and Moulin Rouge together just because that's like
who we are as people.
Literally.
And then go see Mrs. Doubtfire just because like nostalgia.
Yeah, it's just because yeah.
Nostalgia and Rob McClure.
Nostalgic chaos. Like, are you kidding me? I want to see it so bad.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like the weird thing is like in a year's time, I'm very excited to see where like this podcast goes. And it's like a weird thing. Like we have like an audience of 12 people, so it's not like I'm saying this. I would love to grow this audience, but the thing is like, I also want to like, I made this note where I'm like, I'm balancing a weird line because I view this podcast as like my fun thing that I do. Yeah. Whereas my career is my career and I want to be serious about that. So I try not to let the two overlap. So like the weird line I'm balancing is how do I balance this? How do I make once I am working again, how do I make sure that I am able to do so when this is something I love to do and my job is something that I really enjoy doing as well? The two have a lot of things in common. They're both related to the arts. They're both related to theater. You know, it's how, but it's like I'm very also much like a remove social and professional. They're two very different things, but they also are so in common that in my head I'm like, this is should, like I said, we've got an audience of 12 people. Yeah. It's not like we're My Favorite Murder where this is going to become our full-time job.
Right.
I mean,
but who's to say it won't like open stuff up?
Exactly. And so that's what I'm it's this weird thing where it's like I want to get very much bigger and deeper into what this can become, because I do think that this can become something fun and something great.
And I think it's because we both have such like horrendous opinions about things that no one else has. And I feel like if we were to like grow so much more, we should have merchandise that literally, my friend laughs at me for saying this, and she said the same thing. Like, she actually put the idea in my head. I feel like we need shirts that say, "It's just not for me." Because instead of saying that we hate something, we're like, "It's just not meant for me."
That's the thing, is like, and that goes into this balancing line of, one-on-one, I might say like, oh, I don't like this. This is why I don't like this. But I also have to be like cognizant and like understanding that in the way my career moves, I might have to deal with these people.
Right.
On like a professional level. And so that's really the line that I try to navigate, and who knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows, but I also don't want to like stick a giant foot in my mouth.
Right. My favorite thing is like you say that, and I went on like a 30-minute tangent about how I hate James Corden.
I mean, but
But what's
That's
the
you.
likelihood
That's
of me
not
ever?
me.
What's the likelihood of me ever working with James Corden? Like, let's
No,
be
I don't know.
1,000% honest here. What is the likelihood of that ever happening?
Or him ever digging up like a random podcast from our early days. I had this
Right,
like vision because of how you and I are obsessed with Stephen Colbert. I had this dream of like, and I said, oh, you know, one day we're gonna go see Stephen Colbert. I'm like, what if this podcast one day just gets like so huge? We end up as guests on Stephen Colbert. The only thing I would be able to ask him about, the only thing I'd be able to discuss, I'm like, so did you meet Sondheim when you did Company at the internet?
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I don't only want to discuss Company with him.
That's it.
I want to meet Stephen Colbert just so I can be like, what's Stephen Sondheim like? Like, what's his vibe?
Like how intimidated were you by him?
Yeah. I remember when Sondheim went and saw Company at Barrington Stage when Aaron Tveit did it with, who else was in that production?
I have no idea.
Mara Davi was in it.
Is that how you pronounce that name?
Yes.
I've always read it as Mara Davy.
It's Mara Davi, I think. I could be very wrong.
She was in I think she was in A Chorus Line at the Hollywood Bowl.
She was. I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Anyways,
I can just like pull random cast
she was
members
actually
out
in The
my
Music
head.
Man at my regional theater like a couple years
Was
ago.
she Marion?
Yeah. So I remember like whenever he went and saw Company at Barrington Stage, because it was like either right before I went or right after. I can't remember, but I remember seeing it all over Instagram because like I followed a couple people from the cast. And I vividly remember this, and this is just gonna be me sounding like an Aaron Tveit fangirl. I don't care. That's my entire existence. Deal with it. Sondheim looking at Aaron and saying, "You're perfect." Like, like that's like my favorite thing that's ever happened in the theater world. Is Stephen Sondheim first of all critiquing his like performance, and then just going, "But other than that, you're perfect." Like about him playing Bobby, and I'm like, it's because he was meant to play Bobby. He was so
in
good.
my head, Stephen Sondheim is this man who is just like, he's written such amazing works, and he's so heavily like revered. But I also, there are times we have to realize he's just like also just a dude.
Yeah,
where he's just like, I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. Like I feel like he's
like a like
chill
perfect
dude.
statue. Like he like every time I think about him, I'm like, he needs to just like stand in the Met or something. Like he just needs to stand on a pedestal in a museum and just like let us like bow down to him because he is so amazing. But then they're like, yeah, and then I'm like, then I remember that video and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's just like all of us. It's just
dude.
like he watches Aaron Tveit and he's like, he's perfect.
He's just a dude who's like, I don't know why I didn't write Bobby as a woman to begin with.
That makes me laugh so hard. Like literally, like whenever I read the thing at the beginning of the libretto for the Gender Bent Company, it literally is like Sondheim talking about how, or like there's something like a quote or something where it was like, I don't know why we didn't do this in the first place. And it makes me laugh though. Oh, it's so good. Company.
Oh, Stephen Sondheim. What other goals do you have for this podcast? Like what else are you like wanting to do? We're so far into this, like, well, this has gone on so long that I don't know if anybody's even listening at this point anymore. But
I would love to get like theater merch creators on here. Like I would love to talk to people like
people from Creative Goods.
Maybe I was thinking like small businesses, like small theater businesses.
Okay.
So like Scenery Bags or Something Good merch. Shout out to my girls at Something Good merch. They're the best. They're the sweetest girls in the whole world. I love them. And they make the cutest stuff. And like Teal at the Backstage Blonde. And
I would like to get Teal on.
Teal is amazing. She's so much fun to talk to. And like Abby DePhillips now, she has like a store on her website and she has like refurbished show shirts, which I got one for Christmas and it's super cute. I love it. And like she's like created this kind of like thing for herself, which I think is super awesome. Like I would love to get people like that who like are a part of a whole nother aspect of theater that like we don't really think about as much, especially with like Abby DePhillips, because she produces a lot of concerts like at 54 Below and stuff like that. And I would love to talk to her about that aspect of her career and her life.
Yeah. big goals. Who knows where we'll end up in a year? I'm
Yeah.
very excited though. Like I'm very excited about what this can all be.
Yes.
And also about our new podcast. Shh. You'll hear about that later.
XOXO, am I right, ladies?
LOL, we love you.
I'm just like looking at my vision board and I'm like, I'm a psychopath.
No, but look, see, that part of your vision board is gonna happen. Like, you put somebody from that thing on there, and then that's what another part's gonna happen. Anyway, we're talking in code. I do think it's time to wrap this up.
Yes, we've been talking
gone
for
on
so
far too long.
Yes.
But so Jill, let everyone know where we can be found on the internet.
On Instagram and TikTok, we are at Thoughts Shared Podcast. I always like flub my words on that part. I don't know why. And then on Twitter, we are at Thoughts Shared _ which we like never are on because Twitter's.
I always tell myself that I'm gonna like log into the Twitter and actually like make content, but then I just
same. But then that involves me getting on Twitter.
Exactly.
I am afraid of Twitter these days. Like Twitter is just so toxic and stressful. But and then our personal social media, mine are at It's Jill Hayes on literally every platform known to man.
And on Instagram, I'm at Complete Katie, and on TikTok, I'm at Katiefornia, which is fun.
I always say on every platform known to man. I don't have a MySpace. Should I get MySpace?
Does MySpace still exist?
Yeah.
I had a MySpace. I
had one, but I was like, I had it after it was like cool. when Facebook started. Like, it was bad.
Yeah. I think I got like my MySpace and my Facebook within like a couple months of each other. And I was like, MySpace is so much more fun. And then I completely dropped off of that and was like, Facebook is where it's at.
I'm going to bring back MySpace. TikTok. I say that like at least once every 2 years. I'm like, I'm going to bring it back. I'll never even log on to it. I never even think about it.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, until next time, bye.
Bye.